Alright, what's up everybody, it's Sam from Srod Bet. In this video we're doing my card predictions for UFC Fight Night 208, Aspinall versus Blaydes. As always, let's go first through the previous card results, then on to the picks and bets, and on to the breakdowns at the end in the Patreon if you wish to support the channel and know how potentially the Patreon can maximize your profits, alright? So last card, it was a card that I was not too confident, I didn't risk much, but good that I didn't risk much actually because I lost 64% of what I bet, so I bet 3.35, got back 1.2, it was only Jerry Rodriguez which I cashed. So I lost 2.2 units, 64%, so again another loss here. 3 in a row, I'm feeling like I need to win, but that's part of the game. Let's see, let's hope that this time is gonna be a nice one. I'm a little bit more confident here, let's see what's gonna happen with this one, alright? So as I go to the picks and breakdown, picks and the bets. So between Tom Aspinall and Curtis Blaydes, I'm picking and betting Aspinall. My biggest bet of the card, 1.8 units. Jonathan Pearce and Makwan AMirkhani, I'm picking Pearce but betting AMirkhani, 0.7. Chris Curtis and Jack Hermansson, I'm picking and betting Hermansson, 0.9. Then Paddy Pimblett, Jordan Leavitt, I'm picking and betting Pimblett. Molly McCann and Hannah Goldy, picking and betting Goldy. 0.85 each of them. Mainly I'm parlaying these people, alright, with the others. Mohammad, Mokaev and Charles Johnson, I'm picking Mohammad, not betting. Mason Jones and Ludovit Klein, picking Jones, not betting. Volkan Damir, Paul Craig, picking Damir, not betting. Nikita Krylov and Alexander Gustafsson, picking Krylov but betting Gustafsson, 0.9, alright? So doing all of them, actually this is, I'm doing Hermansson here, or Hermansson, 0.9. I was tempted to bet a little bit more, but I'm gonna be laying more money on Hermansson by decision. I don't see much of finish for him because Curtis is, tough and he's an excellent submission defense game. But I'm quite confident on Hermansson as well. I may even bump this up a little bit, maybe to 1.2, 1.25, just by parlaying Hermansson, throwing a little bit on the money line too. All right, so let's move on to the breakdowns. This is not the entire card, guys. The rest of the card I'm gonna be posting on Patreon. I'm still going through it, so I'll explain how the Patreon can benefit you at the end of the video. All right. So between Mohammad and Mokaev, and forgive me here, I forgot to just update the name there. I'll copy it from the previous slides. Between Mohammad and Mokaev and Charles Johnson. I mean, Mokaev was so dominant, right, on the last fight, and prior to the UFC, he showed that elite Dagestani wrestling. 21 years old, Unfortunately, I couldn't see much from him. Not much of the footage is not available prior to the UFC. In the UFC bout against Cody Durden, he finished Durden early by the guillotine. So it's tough to tell actually how good he is. He looks pretty good, right? And he's fighting Charles Johnson here, who is like a LFA flyweight champion, quite tall, long guy, right? Well-rounded. I was checking some footage on Johnson. To be honest, he seems to me a guy that uses his experience, and the other fighter doesn't have much because he kind of controls the range, the kick range for most of the time. Then, like I told you guys, he's quite well-rounded, stuffs some takedowns, takes over the fight with his experience. Quite tough here because Mohammad probably gonna come out hard, and if he has that elite wrestling that people from Dagestani have, so he's probably gonna dominate this one. Also, he's only 21, so I mean probably the guy has been fighting his entire life, and 21-year-old should be full of energy, coming out with an elite cardio and all of that. Gotta pick Mohammad here. It's tough for me to tell the odds on this one. I end up putting Mohammad like minus 200. So the lines are Mohammad like minus 500 and Charles plus 400. I may do a small bet on Johnson just because I haven't seen much, and so on Mokaev. So but I don't know. This is more like favoring the experience here of Johnson, and since Mokaev is only 21, he's still not in his physical prime, which would come around 24, 25. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I think, Mokaev probably going to win this one, but from plus 400 on Johnson, maybe I'm going to take a small bet there. Okay? Just for giving myself the benefit of the doubt here. So Mason Johnson, Ludovit Klein. It's an interesting one. So Jones is coming. He was waiting for an opponent, and then Klein lost his previous opponent, which was Ignacio Bahamondes. So they're fighting here. Mason Jones, well-rounded guy, very aggressive, keeps pushing the pace, eats lots on the way. He has a solid chin. He doesn't move much his head. He gets hit quite a bit, but he keeps coming. He puts his opponent against the cage, shoots. He's an excellent grappler. So Ludovit Klein doesn't like to fight under pressure. He likes space when he can find his big shots. The fast 1-2 that he has, those powerful leg kicks and the kicks to the body and head. But Klein doesn't throw much. I got a feeling that Jones is coming out as a strong favorite, and he is actually, by the book is included, but the reason is he puts lots of pressure, and Klein, not the biggest lightweight. He fought before in the lightweight, but now he used it to be a featherweight, right? And Jones is quite a big lightweight, he's not that tall, but the man is thick and broad shoulders and all of that. So I think the odds here are favoring Jones quite a bit. I ended up, by my calculation, minus 200 on Jones, so would make sense to bet Klein here, but I decided to pass. I think what I'm gonna do here, probably take a look on Mason, maybe within distance or round 2 or round 3, because Klein round 1 he's pretty good. From the second, Jones' pressure can take over, maybe a finish for Jones in round 2 or round 3. Probably I'm gonna bet Klein by decision here, even though Klein is dangerous. He doesn't win much decisions. He wins inside of the distance most of the time. I think Jones is very, very tough. I don't think he's going to get finished by Klein here. Even though Klein has power, it's not impossible, but Jones has a solid chin, and submission for Klein going to be very difficult. So I don't think Klein can finish Jones, but he could find some clean shots. And like I told you guys, Jones, he comes forward, eats shots. Maybe he cannot, dominate too much from top or do much damage on Klein. Klein controls the range, find a clean shot, gets taken down but gets back up without eating too much on the way. It's not impossible. So to me, if I'm gonna bet Klein here, gonna be by decision. I would do it from plus 550. I think this line gonna show up because Klein doesn't have much wins by decision, so the book is probably gonna have that line pretty high, such as I have here plus 550 or even plus 600 on Klein. I think I'm going to take that bet, and like I told you guys, take a look on Mason within distance or finishing him around 2 or 3. Marc Dlakiese and Damir Hadzovic. It's an interesting one. Dlakiese showed his wrestling potential his last bout. I told, by the way, it was a fight that I bet on. I think it was my biggest bet of the card at the time. So Dlakiese, good wrestling, but not that excellent control. He's good to take guys down, but not much, BJJ there to control, to pass the guard, or, a dominant wrestling style, dominant grappling style. He doesn't have that much. But he's fast on the feet too, he's dangerous with spinning kicks, with big shots. He's coming as a strong favorite here against Hadzovic. Hadzovic is not the best fighter, to be honest, he's quite tough and consistent, and apologize here, I'm not going to even fix this one. I'm going to tell you guys my odds for this one. So Hadzovic is quite tough, and he's well-rounded. He wins when he can push forward and kind of break his opponent's will. Not sure he's going to be able to do it here, right? I think, Dlakiese, he's coming as a strong favorite for a reason. He could even win the stand-up match here because Hadzovic doesn't move much the head, doesn't have many angles, much pressure. But Dlakiese, before that, he was not the most consistent guy either. He can wait a little bit too much on the outside, not throw much volume. And he has the takedowns, but I don't think he has excellent control. I think Hadzovic has decent escapes. He can probably escape from Dlakiese here. Now the question is, can Dlakiese find the bigger shots? Probably he can, but it's not impossible that Damir adjusts that a little bit or even eats the shots, keeps coming forward, does more volume, right? And the wrestling is there for Dlakiese, but not that dominant. It's not impossible that Hadzovic wins here, that's what I'm saying. I would still favor Dlakiese, like minus 200, I think that I have in the spreadsheet, or even minus 300. I think I have minus 200 on Dlakiese here. Where is it? I don't even remember putting it here, did I? Yeah, I didn't even put it here, I forgot. So yeah, Dlakiese, by my calculations, would be like minus 200 or minus 300 maybe. But in terms of a bet, I would say that the value is on Hadzovic. Contradicting myself, saying that he's not the best fighter, right? Because Hadzovic is also under a good camp there in Arte Suave, so he trains with guys that has good wrestling, good control. So he can. I'm trusting a little bit. Hadzovic escapes here. I think he can escape quite well. So yeah, I think actually I don't quite remember how much I had. It was probably like this, So I think I don't see much of a finish for Hadzovic here. Maybe he can finish like 15% of the time, right? In the Dlakiese, I think he can also TKO or submission would give him maybe 25. So give Dlakiese by decision probably would be the best bet. But in terms of the best pick, in terms of a bet, I wouldn't go Hadzovic. I'll probably bet a little bit Hadzovic also by decision. So Hadzovic nowadays is like plus 290. I think I saw that. I've seen that. I would throw him half a unit on him, and yeah, like I told you guys, not impossible that he wins, and I like a little bit the price, to be honest. I would bet, I think from plus 250, I would still have a little more bet on Hadzovic. Rather than that, only him by decision, right? Maybe pass on this one probably would be the best strategy here, okay? So apologize for the changing of everything around here, distracting you guys, but at least you guys have it. That Hadzovic here, maybe the bet. Jonathan Pearce and Makwan AMirkhani. This is another interesting one. JSP, known for his pressure, big guy for the division, keeps coming, well-rounded, can do a little bit of everything. But yeah, basically a pressure guy, grinder, excellent cardio. Makwan AMirkhani, very, very dangerous in the first and in the second round. Not as much as from the third. He slows down just a little bit from the second half of the fight. I mean, AMirkhani, this is an interesting matchup because AMirkhani, the problem that I have with this guy is that he doesn't throw much on the feet. I think he has under, I was taking a look at the stats here, I think he has under two significant strikes per minute. So he can land 2 big shots per minute at maximum, which is very, very little, right? In general, high-level guys land at least the double of that, right? So they are a little bit busier. But interestingly enough, this is not a problem here because Pearce is going to push this one, right? Pearce is going to get to his opponent's face and going to make them fight. This is a good stuff for AMirkhani because AMirkhani, he's not a bad striker either. No, he's pretty decent, but he doesn't throw enough volume. And Pearce likes to take this to the ground. He's at his best when he can take to the ground. If he shoots on AMirkhani, it's dangerous. So you can argue that Pearce is going to keep this standing. He will probably try, but AMirkhani, he is patient enough to control the range and then time the takedowns. Pearce tends to come forward hard, so it gives more chance for AMirkhani to time the takedowns. So I'm just saying that I think AMirkhani is a live dog here, at least he could be, right? I think the safest pick is indeed Pearce because Pearce is tough, he's not easy to finish, and if he survives the submission in the first round, probably he wins. But it's not impossible that AMirkhani wins here, plus he's fighting in the UK, more close to his home. He's probably training still in Ireland, so people are going to probably be rooting for him. So, I don't know, man. I think there is a little value on AMirkhani. I took the bet, not big money on AMirkhani. He could win even by decision, it's not impossible. If he wins the first 2, lose the third, right? Or even a draw in that regard. I'm thinking now maybe Pearce can be dominant on the third and lose the first 2, like, not clear. So now that I'm talking to you guys, maybe a draw here is not impossible, right? But I think rather most likely scenario, Jonathan Pearce by decision, controlling, doing damage. AMirkhani is not that easy to finish, even though he can be finished, not that easy. And yeah, AMirkhani within distance, probably the best bet on AMirkhani here. I took him like plus 180 because I like a little bit the price. But maybe AMirkhani within distance and obviously submission. The round 1 would be also interesting. AMirkhani submission round 1, I'm also interested into this one. Chris Curtis and Jack Hermansson. Like I told you guys, probably my second biggest bet here. Yeah, and also I'm going to be throwing a little bit more on Jack by decision, as I told you guys. So the breakdown here, guys, Chris Curtis looked impressive in the UFC, finishing everybody. He got the decision over Vieira. I called that one, not on Curtis, but I called the decision prop. It wasn't the biggest prop that I cashed in recent memory. So Chris Curtis, I mean, he's good everywhere, right? He's very difficult to submission. He's tough, you know that he can take a shot. It's going to be very difficult to finish this guy. The problem that I have with Curtis is the volume. He doesn't quite throw much. He's going to be patient in there, waiting for the big shot. You know, we know that he has power, but I think Hermansson can take those shots, right? And I think Hermansson going to be the busier guy on the outside, controlling the range here. He's taller, he's longer, and he has the wrestling. Now, if Hermansson tries to impose too much the wrestling game, I think he can maybe eat some big shots. So I would advise Hermansson to stay here on the outside, just score, win a decision, right? A boring decision, but anyway, win that clearly with the range. But anyway, even if Hermansson comes a little bit more aggressive than I would like or would recommend, I think he still wins this fight, right? I think he's a little bit better everywhere, a little bit bigger. So I don't know. Curtis, again, surprised me many times, but I think this is basically Hermansson's fight to win. So I have Jack by decision. I would bet him by decision from plus 200. Probably going to find this line. And this is going to be my biggest prop too. Molly McCann and Hannah Goldy. This is pretty easy to break down. To be honest, I'm not the biggest fan on Goldy, even though she made me lose money before. I bet Emily Whitmire there. So Goldy, you know, she's quite, what can I say? She's in there, you know, to fight with the boxing. She has a decent clinch game. She also can attack from her back, as we have seen. Molly McCann, way tougher, very aggressive, you know, well-rounded. I like her wrestling. I like a little bit her grappling. Her strike's also pretty good because she comes to throw hard, right? And she keeps pushing. She's very tough. She's tough to finish. Yeah. So I agree. I think Molly McCann is a strong favorite here. I have myself her as minus 330. I think the line is probably minus 400 on her now. I got a bet on her when she was minus 330, so I'm pretty happy with that. Not the biggest bet because, I don't know, when the price is right, I don't like to bet big, right? Even though I'm quite confident here. And yeah, Hannah Goldy, how can I see she winning? Why I wouldn't go crazy on McCann here? I mean, she's going to stand her ground at times. She will fire back, right? In an MMA fight with small gloves, she could find a clean shot. We also know that she can do something from her back, right? So McCann is more experienced too, you know. So this is McCann fights to win, to be honest. But I don't know. I think still McCann at minus 400. I would still parlay her, but more than that, I think would just pass on this one. Even though I think Molly is probably the strongest pick in this card here. Volkanov's Damir and Paul Craig. Yeah, I mean, this one is an interesting one. I was back and forth here. I almost bet Craig, decided to pass because Volkan at his best is pretty good. He keeps coming forward, good volume, good takedown defense. Not the best, but decent. Not bad escapes, and he has more volume. He's more experienced here. Paul Craig, known for his BJJ. The problem that I have here also, I haven't seen much from Craig in terms of striking lately. He did find the finish on Nikita in the previous fights. He shoot early, did a good job. That's his game plan, perfect. But I couldn't see him striking much. I don't think he's going to finish Volkanov's Damir that easy, at least. You know, probably he can fish to submission. He will try all the time. Probably he can find. Not probably, maybe he can find it at some point, but I'm not that confident in here. And Paul Craig in the past, man, the chin is so up. He's quite slow in reflexes. He doesn't have much power. The choices of attack is not the best. So gotta go Volkan in here, right? Even though by my calculation it's close to 50-50, so it would make sense to bet Craig. I decided just to pass on this one, but gonna be interesting to see what's gonna happen here. Volkan also in a long layoff, coming back. And the fight in the UK, so probably Craig is a local guy. So I don't know, man. That's why I put this 50-50. But I'm gonna just pass on here. Paddy Pimblett and Jordan Leavitt. This also quite easy to break down. Leavitt is another guy that's a pure BJJ fighter. Doesn't have much striking, even though he's trying to get better. Still not there. Pimblett, pretty good everywhere, right? But he had his best when he can score on the outside and take it to the ground from the top position. This is going to be interesting because I think Pimblett going to have to stuff the takedowns and then keep it standing would be smarter. At least score more on the feet, make hurt Leavitt a little bit and then maybe take it to the ground. From the top, I think Pimblett still has advantage, even though Leavitt is a good BJJ player. He's better in BJJ. But I think in an MMA match with Pimblett from top, striking, I think I like Pimblett here also from top. So this is this is Pimblett's fight to win. I'm more confident in here on him than I was before, right? I bet Vendramini that time. I think Vendramini did well for the time being, but Pimblett showed that he's tough. The second fight, again, Pimblett showed his toughness. He had a hard time at first, but then came back strong. I don't think Leavitt gonna give a hard time on Pimblett unless Pimblett doesn't stuff the initial shot. Then probably Leavitt has a chance, but it's not easy to finish Pimblett too. Right, he's tough, and I think his submission game defense is pretty decent. So yeah, gotta go Pimblett here, parlaying him a little bit, especially with Molly McCann. Nikita Krylov and Alexander Gustafsson. Now this is an interesting one, for obvious reason. Gustafsson, long layoff, coming back now. Probably people betting Nikita for two reasons. First of all, I think Nikita is pretty good, right? I don't think he's yet at his full potential because he used to have bad game plans and he still does. For example, why would you take Paul Craig down? I mean, he was the better wrestler and he's not a bad grappler by any means, but he just gave a chance to Craig, right? Imagine if he keeps it standing. He could easily dominate the fight, but what he does in the first round, he goes and shoots, and both of the guys are dry. So he still has these things, right? He doesn't have the best game plan, even though he's good, I like Nikita. But technically not still there, and the game plan execution still poor, right? Gustafsson, imagine that this fight would be 3-4 years ago, we would have easily the odds flipped here. So, I mean, the layoff is complicated. Nikita is aggressive right off the bat. But Alexander is very experienced, right? He fought for the title before. He fought in the was he the Ultimate Fighter? I don't think so, right? But he fought fought the big names there in the past. Phil Davis, when Phil Davis was in the UFC and all of these things, right? He fought wrestlers. He fought good strikers. Has those style that he doesn't. He's very elusive, tough to hit. He's always on his back foot. Scoring on the outside. Tall guy, long. So I don't know, man. I think Gustafsson has legit takedown defense. He can, even if he gets taken down here, he's gonna be able to escape Nikita. I think this is basically very close to 50-50. I end up giving Nikita just a small edge because of the layoff of Gustafsson. Nikita also younger, right, and the more well-rounded, at least the better wrestler here. So yeah, maybe Nikita is a small favorite for this reason, but I like the lines on Gustafsson. I have him as plus 125. The book is by plus 160, so I like a little bit on him. I may even go to 1 unit, I'm now in 0.9. 1 unit easily can go on Gustafsson. Maybe Gustafsson also by decision. Yeah, not maybe. I will bet Gustafsson by decision because Nikita is tough to finish. So yeah, I think this is an interesting fight. Let's see what's going to happen, but the value definitely for me on Gustafsson. And Aspinall and Curtis Blaydes in the main event. Good fight. I'm curious to see this one. I mean, Aspinall been very dominant, finishing everybody. I think this guy is not only a finisher, he's a smart guy. We know that he can go for broke, but take his time, and if he doesn't finish the guy, he's still a little bit aware of his cardio. It's not going to be easy to finish Curtis Blaydes by any means. The man is big, right? Even though he was finished before. I don't remember all the guys that knocked him out, but I think he has 3 knockout losses. So he can be knocked out, and Aspinall definitely has the power for that, and the sharpness, and if he takes top position, he can also crack, right? So to me, Tom here, at least minus 170. I was between minus 170 and minus 200 on Tom, and decided to give minus 170 to Tom by my calculations, because if Blaydes can survive the onslaught, maybe that wrestling gonna pay off. He has decent chance for the decision. But guys, Tom is the better striker, not by a mile, but it's significant, right? He's faster, he's sharper on the 1-2. He's the better grappler, right? I think people are probably not taking this into account. Tom Aspinall has legit BJJ. If he takes top position, he's gonna dominate. Blaydes taking top position, he's gonna have to be smart. He's gonna have to, use the size, avoid the submissions, and repeat, right? Because if he's gonna try to grapple with Tom, he could get finished, by a submission, even Tom from his back. So the question here is Blaydes' size, right? He's a little bit bigger than Tom, he's by 15 pounds. So is the size gonna make a difference? I mean, it could, right? Curtis also has some power. Tom chin up, right? Doesn't move the head, gets hit clean, right? So Blaydes could also find a finish in that regard, right? Plus Blaydes by decision using the wrestling. Tom cannot finish Curtis, punches himself out, also not impossible. Blending all this together, I still think Tom minus 170 by my calculation. There is value there. I put it up as my biggest bet. I put as a yellow there in the spreadsheet, which is a median quality bet. So most of the time I have low, right? In this one I'm putting medium. So I'm quite confident on Tom. But as I told you guys, it's not impossible that Blaydes both finds a clean shot. He finds drops Tom and finishes him, right? Because Tom, the chin is up. So he would have to fix that. I don't think he will fix for this fight. And Blaydes, his biggest chance if he cannot wrestle Tom and from top position, keep using his size, right? But again, I think Tom finds a shot, he controls the range, faster guy, right? And he can even take Blaydes down. He will be dominant from top too. Let's see what's gonna happen. I think this is Tom's fight to win, fighting also in the UK, right? So everything is aligned. I think I'm quite confident here on Tom, right? So guys, this will do for this video. As always, please like, subscribe, share it with your friends. I have 2 tiers for you guys on Patreon. For $10, it's a 10. This is in Brazilian reais, but in $10, this is $50. So what I have for you guys for 10. You guys can obviously chat with me. I have this material that I publish. You guys can have access to this early on, right? I said, I think it was on Saturday that I put this one, telling already the bet on Aspinall, the bet on Gustafsson. There's some money coming on these guys. So, and also the bet on AMirkhani. So this is it. Also, I have the post-trading comments that I publish exclusive here on Patreon and the fights that I didn't call now. So, such as Ortega and Rodriguez here. So this is how it looks like. And for $50, it's line by line everything I'm doing. It's access to the spreadsheet and all the props that I take, right? So there were pretty good props in the past, right? Some of them I said in here. Last card was on my card, also especially in terms of props, so none of them cashed. But anyway, I was not too confident as I told you guys. But there, obviously, most of the cards I'm cashing the props, and the props are also profitable. So just $50, show your appreciation to the channel, and line by line all the props that I'm doing and access to this spreadsheet here. Okay, so thanks guys for watching. I'll talk to you next time. This time from Srod, the best, most consistent and transparent betting strategy for you.